Hello, welcome to Revolutionize Your Marketing with AI. I'm REBL Risty, and today we're here with Melina Rissone, who's going to talk to us about real estate and her marketing efforts, which are pretty amazing, by the way. And what she's doing in the forefront for for her clients, and hopefully inspiring some other realtors too. Hi, Melina.
Hi, Rebel. Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm excited to
Of
be here.
course. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Maybe if you could, for our audience, just a really quick introduction of who you are and what you do.
I would love that. Thank you. My name is Melina Rissone. I'm an associate broker with Coldwell Banker, a certified senior advisor, seniors real estate specialist, and also a real estate collaboration specialist for divorce. I've been selling homes in San Diego County for 20 years. This year is actually my anniversary.
Oh my gosh, well,
Originally,
congratulations.
I'm from Germany. I moved here with a hospitality degree, worked for Hyatt, and then fell in love with the city.
Oh, well, we're glad to have you.
Oh, thank
So,
you.
one of the things I think stands out about you, Melina, is you have over 200 five-star reviews. Is that hard to do for an agent?
I want to say yes. That is hard because each and every individual, you would want to make sure that you exceed their expectations. So how do you do that? I sit down with my clients for a consultation, and one of the very first questions I ask them is, what is it exactly that you're looking for in a service? What was your previous experience? And how would you like for this service to look like for you? And then I cater their experience around what they answered. And that is different for everyone. So I really try to make it a unique experience based on what my clients' needs are. And so
Wonderful.
once we do that, and we're in the process, I remind them during the process, and then of course towards the end, if they can please give me a review if the services I gave them supported them in their decision making and in their execution. That is
Yeah.
really all of the secret there.
Yeah, no, and I love it. And I think it's such a simple thing, and people seem to get scared for asking for a review. So, if you've done a good job, your clients are usually pretty happy to give you one.
Yes, yes. I usually always see. Sometimes there's privacy. People will say, "Oh, Melina, I loved working with you, but I don't really do any online reviews. I don't do that." And
Sure.
in that case, I ask them if they can send me a letter or something I can use offline as well. And a lot of times they're okay with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, online reviews is definitely something I use a lot in my marketing. And I share with my clients how important it is for me to attract new clients that go through the same and they're looking for the same solution that they were looking at. They just don't know it's out there. So the review will help others to find me.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I know the search engines, especially the AI LLMs, are looking for those types of things. So I think it's really important and
Yes.
good advice for any business, really.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah.
And you and I know, as us consumers ourselves, we check out businesses online before
Me
we
too.
hire them.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I just had somebody the other day who was I talking to. It was actually a potential partner, and she said, "I saw your reviews, and like that was really great." And for a moment, you think, "Oh, does anybody really look at these?" But they do. They
Yes,
really do.
100%.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons you and I connected is you have a very good marketing program that you've put together. You do videos, you're on the different socials channels, you're getting reviews. I particularly love video. Tell us a little bit about why that's important for a real estate agent and how that actually helps your clients.
Yes, thank you for asking. So ultimately, we come out of a time where in the 2000s, any individual would move every 5 to 7 years. And that has changed over the years to now 10 to 15 years. So that means if I have clients I worked with almost 20 years ago, I need to stay in front of them. I need to provide value during all this time until they move again. The same goes along for clients that are relocating into the area that are possibly on the East Coast or anywhere else in the country. I need to attract them, right? I need to let them know about my service. And unless I do that, they won't know and they won't be able to find me. So marketing allows me to be in front of people at the time that they need me. And even if they don't, in case of past clients, they can consistently appreciate the value I bring by giving them tips around how to best take care of their property, how to properly plan for retirement, how to go through a divorce and plan what to do with the house and so forth. So these are some of the educational tips that I give throughout the videos and the different systems that I use there. And I have a pretty strategic way how I go about my marketing. I'd be happy to share. So the first thing we do is we start writing blogs. And then from the blog, we create a script. From the script, then I will record the video. From the video and the blog, we'll make the e-newsletter. We cut up the different videos that are possibly educational or home tours, and we put them on Instagram as shorts, or we create a long form, and that's what we put on YouTube, for example. So every marketing piece that we create, we make sure that we can multi-purpose it. And so there's a lot of work involved that, and I do have a marketing team that supports me with those efforts. But now that we have AI, that's where you come in, Rebel, and you can help so much with all of these solutions that you provide, where you can automate a lot of these steps. And yeah, I think people really need to find out what you're offering because it can revolutionize their systems. And a lot of
Wow,
times
you
we
should do
know it,
my.
people don't have systems necessarily yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that is the challenge, isn't it? I was going to say you should do my marketing. I love it.
Well, I know the work it takes, and I know
Yeah,
the different steps, and I also know how many years it's been taking me to even get to a system or a strategy.
yeah,
And so here you are, you come along and you have all these tools. And what I hear from a lot of people is, Melina, I love your marketing. How do you do it? And I
yeah,
feel now I can just tell them, call Rebel because she has the solution figured out for you before I sit down with them and, all these steps. And usually people get overwhelmed by the marketing anyway. And then unfortunately, they actually never do it and they never get around to it. So I think your offerings and plans will really be a solution for a lot of business owners that have just simply had not had the chance to really sit down and create themselves a marketing strategy.
yeah. No, and I think that's such a good point. You do learn trial by error, and it takes a while to build up the process, whether it's, selling a home or buying or creating your marketing team. And I really appreciate that shout out because we've taken all our years of learning, and now with the power of AI, we can automate so much of that for people who
Yes.
may not enjoy being in front of the camera or just feel like they don't have time to come up with the ideas that they need to. And I love your strategy of starting with the blog and then building from there and repurposing content because
Yes.
that is the key, yeah, to making that consistent and actually much more feasible than trying to create single pieces of content along the way.
Yes, it gets just too tedious if everything comes up from scratch. We have to multi-purpose so that we have all these different channels that we can serve.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things, I said earlier that really I love that you're doing is the videos. How now you said with the blogs you're writing the scripts, but I still see you're out on the street, you're walking, you're on site. You mentioned an interesting fact to me about backgrounds. What are you doing and how are you, I guess, shifting and adjusting,
Yeah, very
with your
good.
content?
Thank you for asking. So we put out content on the different platforms and then we keep analytics. What do people like to watch? And the interesting part here is that actually varies per platform. People will look for something very different on LinkedIn than what they're looking for in Facebook or on Instagram or in a newsletter or in a blog. So it's real
Mhm.
important for us to define further and further what our audience is and where our audience is looking for it. So to give you an example, on Instagram, for what I do, know that home tours are promoting really well, and the audience on Instagram wants to be entertained. They kind of scroll around and they want to be entertained. Oh, by this beautifully remodeled kitchen or whatever it is. Like, that's from my field, but that's what people are looking for. So home tours is definitely something that we promote and that we work on. And in addition, the home tours really help us get our listings in front of the people that are looking to buy, right? So ultimately, our marketing is there to help sell our listings and help our clients move to where they want to move with the highest amount possible in their pocket. What else is it that I'm doing? That's what I do, right? So the marketing really helps me with the eyeballs, as they call it. We need as many people as possible on those videos, because as soon as someone falls in love with the property online, we know we'll get them inside the property quicker so they can see the home. And if that happens a few times, we'll end up with multiple offers, which will strengthen our client's position with multiple offers. So that is that is what our strategy is for our clients to have properties to sell.
Right. Oh, I love that. And you got ahead of me. I was just going to ask, how does your marketing actually help your clients? And that makes so much sense.
Yes.
The more eyeballs you get on the properties that you're representing will, of course, turn into more offers and more, hopefully, quicker offers too.
Exactly. Because once a property sits on the market for too long, it gets stale. People start asking questions. Oh, what's wrong with this home? It's been on the market 10 days. It's like,
I know, shame on us. What is wrong with us?
there's got to be something wrong with it, Melina. So there could be, or maybe not. But the fact is, for our listings, we want to be sure that we have as many eyeballs on the properties and home tours as soon as we launch, so we can attract those buyers into the listings and have them write multiple offers.
Yeah, very cool. One of the things that I do know about you is that you specialize in seniors and divorce or divorcing couples. Maybe tell us a little bit about what a certified senior advisor is and why you decided to become one.
Yes, I would love to share. A certified senior advisor goes through a very vigorous process for interviewing, teaching, learning, and also studying, and there's an exam at the end. So in this case, I flew out to Denver for a week. I studied every day. It was literally classroom for 8-9 hours every day. At the end of that week, we had an exam. And so what we learned here are all the different aspects seniors have to consider when they plan their next move. That might either be downsizing, moving to a retirement community, or relocating to be closer to their family. And seniors specifically look at, seniors or older adults really, typically look at lifestyle, health changes, financial consideration. And there's so much more than just real estate. So it's important to touch base on all of these aspects when clients and when consulting with them, because it's not just the house. So a lot of times, even clients think, oh, Melina, I'll call you once I get close to listing my house. And I always share with them that, but there's so many different steps that you need to take before you get to listing your property. And now, as a certified senior advisor, I can support them on that entire journey of aging until they decide to either sell or move. So I have some clients that I start supporting 2 years prior they actually ever moved. So I'm going to give you an example. Sometimes people say to me, Melina, I'd like to stay in my home for as long as I can. Perfect. Let's get someone on board that can help us to outfit your property with grab bars, additional lighting. Let's remove some of the rugs that are trip hazards and so forth. These are just some examples. Well, we'll have a consultation. We'll get the resource partners that we'll need. And that way we can make sure that the home is safe until it no longer is. And when it's no longer safe, we'll get a placement specialist on board. And the placement specialist, we have placement specialists here in San Diego. They know all of the 700 retirement communities that I don't all know and that I don't think my clients need to all visit. So we'll have a consultation. Right. We look at what they're looking for in their lifestyle, what their healthcare concerns are, what their needs are, and we'll also look at their finances to make sure it's comfortably with the payments. And then once we have a good picture there, The placement specialist goes out and tours the retirement communities. And so then the clients can start experiencing how it would be to live in one of those. And that might or might not be what they want to do next. But we want to be sure to give them the information so they can make educated decisions about their journey and where they want to move next.
Yeah, that's great. And I feel like seniors are such a kind of a forgotten group. And, I'm sure that very much helps their children as well to
Very
have
much so.
somebody
You
like
bring up a very good point, Rebel. So, all too often, my phone would ring from an adult child that is not in San Diego, an adult child that lives in New York, Florida, Colorado, or wherever in the country. And the call I get goes something like this: Melina, I'm worried about my parents. They're getting older. I have a feeling they're no longer safe. They can no longer take care of their property. What are their options? And that's when we
that.
start. It all starts, of course, with a consultation with the parents to make sure that we understand exactly what it is that they're looking for, because they can be very different than what the adult child would like for them. So
Right.
bringing everyone together there into conversation, a lot of times is mediating in between difficult family situations as well. So that's the work that we do there. And then together, we provide a tailored solution to get them where they want to go or have them age in their place safely.
Yeah. I can imagine, when I think about my own mother, how
Yeah.
different our ideas are of what
Okay, there
she
you
should be
go. Is
doing
she in
versus
San
what I think
Diego?
she should do. She's in Marietta, so close,
Okay, so
close.
not too
Yeah.
far, but also not right next door. You can't go in within 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
So
My mom,
very,
for
very.
example, she lives in Germany. So it's important for
Oh,
me to know who I can call when she needs help. So for adult children that are away from San Diego, I always tell them I might not have every answer for you, but I will have a resource for you. So I invite them to call. And as part of their parents' aging journey, they can always reach out and I can connect them. A lot of my resource partners are also certified senior advisors if it's senior specific, or provisor partners, of course, as well.
oh, that's great. That's really great. Well, the other segment that you also serve is divorcing or divorced couples.
That's
How do
correct.
you, explain to me maybe a little bit like what's the problem they're dealing with and how you
Yeah,
help them?
good question. Yes. So, all too often, I get the first call and it goes something like this: Melina, I think I might have to divorce. I'm very worried about where to go next. I don't have the financial means. I don't know how much I'm going to have after the divorce. I'm worried I have to leave my house and I can't really afford rent right now. That's generally how it starts. And so we have to go from there and create a support team that helps us with questions around legal, around finances. Sometimes we get a parent coordinator on board so we can discuss custody. That is not my lane, right? I'm in the housing real estate lane, but we'll grab all these resources of people that can support and we build that team. Oftentimes we get a divorce coach on board as well. So once we have that team assembled, my part is always the first thing. When I go in, I establish a home value report. Here I incorporate all the things that online estimators cannot see, such as
Mm,
lot use. Have there been any additions to the property? Were there any items renovated since the property was last sold? Um, does the property provide opportunity to maybe build something different, or could there be an ADU at any value adds given, and we'll make adjustments for those. Then I'll
hmm.
create a home value report, and sometimes I will update that several times for the attorneys, but ultimately the home value report will give and establish a value of the property. And let's face it, here in Southern California, very often the equity in people's homes is what they need to get through whatever transition that they're working through. That could be divorce,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
it could be a relocation, or a parent that needs help with finances, or whatever the case. So we have, and we're lucky, we have a lot of equity in our homes. And I always advocate for people, let's see how much it actually is. And I have sold properties where online estimators would tell us, say, 1.1 million, once I actually sold the property, it sold for 1.6. And if the
Mm-hmm.
couple would have known that upfront, how much the property could have sold for, it would have helped them in their planning in a different way. So that's why I always advocate know exactly what your home is worth. And online estimators can't see, for example, a water view. Oftentimes, they're not considering some of these facts. But that's the
Yeah.
first step for me. So building the team, making sure we get an accurate home valuation report, and then taking the steps from there. I always make the recommendations. I provide the facts and the data. And then, of course, the clients decide which path they would like to choose.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melina. And speaking of the home value report, correct me if I'm wrong, is that something that you provide clients for free or is it a paid service?
Thank you for asking. I provide that for free. All I ask is if my data and the facts I provided have helped them in their journey, if they could provide me with a review. And if it's ever
Yeah.
down the road, if it ever comes time for them to move, I ask them to think about me. But there's no charge. It's a broker price opinion. I call it home value report because most people can relate to it a little bit better. It's kind of like really clear what it is.
Yeah.
In the real estate industry, we call it broker price opinion. It's not exactly like an appraisal, but it comes close to it. We factor in properties that are on the market as active listings, in pending as properties under contract, and properties that have sold. So we look at all of the information. I always make a home visit so I actually really see the property, and all of this is what we bring together in a report, and this is a free service, yes.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Melina. This has been really fun. I
Thank
am
you.
really excited to partner with you on some other things, but I honestly think that you're ahead when I see what other real estate agents are doing. And it's not good or bad, right? But we have to be out there. And I love that what you're doing is actually helping your clients.
Perfect,
And
yes.
yeah, it's great. Well, any last recommendations on for our audience if they are looking, or maybe they've got an aging parent? Where's the best place for them to find you?
Yes, they can certainly go to my website, melinarissone.com. They can also reach me directly on my cell at 619-678-1350. I'd love to hear from them. These are consultations that I offer that, if it doesn't lead to a sale for another 5 or 10 years, or whatever the case the client decides, that's totally fine. Sometimes, like I said, people hesitate to reach out because they think they're not ready. You don't have to be ready to talk to me. I'd be happy to provide value. And if there's ever a time I can support in the future, I would be happy to. So I definitely encourage for clients to reach out, or people that are thinking about a transition that lies ahead. And I would definitely encourage also all professionals to get their marketing in place, because how would people know what you're offering if you're not telling them?
Yeah, that's true. You've got to let people know. So thanks so much, Felina.
My
And for
pleasure.
our audience out there, if you are interested in learning more about how AI can power your marketing, reach out to Rebel Labs, our newest brand where we are solving those problems for our clients. And you can find us on rebellabs.ai or call us at 858-848-7325. And thank you.